a written production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.
Stay for a half hour, then I got another.
Good morning, everyone. I call this exchange meeting to order and ask that you rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I welcome you to the exchange meeting for June. My name is Kat Fimmel, and I am the president of the 2023 Board of Directors. This meeting is audio and video recorded by the RCSC management and staff. Please be advised that there is no recording of this meeting by any individual. Please take out your phones and electronic devices and turn them to the silent mode. I will try to remember at the end of the meeting to remind you to turn them back on. Now I would like to introduce the Board of Directors. Vice President McAdam.
Good morning.
Secretary Totten.
Oh, good morning.
Treasurer Fast.
Good morning.
Director Collins.
Hello, everyone.
Director Nowakowski.
Good morning.
Director Nichols.
Good morning.
Director Darbitt.
Good morning.
Director Ruff.
Good morning.
Introduction of the management staff. The interim general manager, Mr. McCurdy.
Good morning.
Director of Building and Infrastructure, Mr. Whiprud.
Good morning.
Director of Operations, Mr. Herring.
Good morning.
Director of Golf and Grounds, Mr. Duthu.
Chris Lynham in his place. Good morning.
Mr. Lynham, nice to have you. Director of Bowling, Mike Deermeyer. Communications and RCSC Marketing Manager, Ms. Higgins. Our Sun City Visitor Center and Marketing Manager, Ms. Lucas. Our Corporate Executive Coordinator, Ms. Johnson.
Good morning.
Up in the booth is Ms. Serena, the Director of Events and Entertainment. I also want to recognize Mr. Kleinhans and Ms. Young, our audiovisual engineers, and of course our timekeeper, Ms. Bussebarger. I also want to take a moment to thank the Sundial staff for having this room ready for us today. Before we open the floor for member comments, I'd like to ask if there are any comments from the directors. Treasurer Fast.
Yeah, I just wanted to announce that the Long Range Planning Committee is planning on holding town halls in September to talk about and roll out the work of the SAC, the mission, vision, and values, and hopefully the 5-year plan, so that we can get feedback from a broad membership on all of those critical undertakings. Thanks.
Yes, and as the chair of the Elections Committee, I'd just like to take this opportunity to remind everybody that the election season has sort of officially opened. Anybody that's interested in running for the board can pick up a packet at the board office. There was a candidate information session on Thursday, which was video recorded, and if anybody is interested in seeing what some of the questions were or comments that were made, you're welcome to look that up.
And I have one item with regard to hiring of a new general manager. We have identified an executive recruiting firm, Cizik Associates, and they will be helping us to locate a highly qualified candidate for the position. With that, I will open the floor to the members.
Morning, folks. I'm Alan Rockman. I moderate what we now have a shorthand name for. It's called the Money Club. It meets every Saturday morning above the library at Fairway. We had a couple of questions about what happened in the last several weeks. On May 24th, we all received an email from you folks that said, effective immediately, Mr. Cook was going to no longer be the general manager. Is that his title? I forget. And that Kevin was going to wear both hats for the short term until you folks get to hire another fella. And then the same time, an email came out, and I watched your whole YouTube presentation of the board meeting that took place. And at no time was that subject ever addressed. So that Saturday morning, I had an optimistic view of what happened to Mr. Cook, and my optimistic view was that he got tired or he got a better offer somewhere else, and he was frustrated maybe by the slowness with which the board is able to reach a decision and make things go forward. Then I went in there Saturday morning, and a lot of my guys that talk about money all the time had a more sinister view of what happened to him. And I came here today to see if I could gather any information about why the subject was never addressed in public, and if you guys are willing now to tell all the members what happened to Mr. Cook, good, bad, or indifferent, question mark. Can you open our minds and inform us about what happened with him?
Absolutely not. We do not discuss personnel matters in public forums. We just don't. I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Okay, let me remind you, we belong in the United States of America, a democratic institution, and I understand what you're saying, because 60 years ago this year, a president of ours got assassinated, and the Warren Commission met for a couple of years, and their conclusion was not to tell the public what happened to John Kennedy for 75 years. I hope that you will come up with an opportunity to inform us, who put all you up there as the board of directors, in some period of time less than 75 years. I don't know what else to say. You say you have rights not to inform us. Thomas Jefferson probably would have a different opinion about that. This is still America. This is a democracy. It's not an autocracy. I don't know the more detailed rules. Some of you guys that have backgrounds in law, and I'm sure you consulted a lot of lawyers with whatever you did with Mr. Cook. And I'm hoping that we can get some answers from you before 75 years expire. I'll still be here, and maybe you who also plan to live a long time will be along here with me. I would like to know what, and it's not just me, our club, our group that talks about money, want to know what happened. I mean, it's not such a horrible question to ask. We hope you will someday be able to answer that for us.
What happened is what we told you happened. That a mutual agreement was reached,
yeah.
And Mr. Cook is no longer the general manager here. He too has rights, just to let you know.
Well, a mutual agreement is a good starting point. When will you define what was the content of that mutual agreement?
They can't. It's HR legal matter.
Pardon?
It's HR legal matter. They cannot.
Well, luckily, we have at least one board member who used to be a lawyer, and I don't know if anybody else has any legal experience. I'm certainly not going to go to the expense of and down that route at all. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. We have articles of incorporation to follow and bylaws. And in our bylaws, it specifically says that if we hold executive sessions, which are held to discuss confidential matters, that all matters that are discussed in our executive sessions remain confidential indefinitely. That's one of our bylaws that we must follow.
Very nice. And I hope to be the smiling thorn in everybody's side until we can come up with answers that will solve everybody and serve everybody's best interests. Right now, the 35,000 people that put you guys in office are not getting satisfactory responses to that basic question. Who's ever writes, if there's a criminal event going on, sooner or later, that is going to become public matter. But since you guys came to some mutual understanding, none of us knows what that means in English. And you have your rules, and you're doing the rule book thing, and I'm going swimming. It's been nice talking to you guys this morning. I'll see you again with our next aggravation. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, nature abhors a vacuum, but please don't fill in the spaces, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot share any more information than we are sharing. And spreading rumors or making comments or making suggestions of what might have occurred in the absence of knowing what occurred is a very dangerous activity.
I personally had a very optimistic view of why he went on to greener pastures. But then my group of the...
Sir, you're repeating yourself now, so
I'm doing what? Repeating?
I'll ask you to let
I used
others
to joke about that. I used to say,
speak.
don't repeat yourself, don't repeat yourself, don't repeat yourself, don't repeat yourself. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm responsible for the summary of the pool usage, and it is not biased, but I did use extra half an hour for their usage because between the startup time where they check in and the 24 chairs and lounges on the north side are not usable, and there's a little time afterwards. But the reason I'm here is not to end water volleyball by any means, but to see if we can get together with some degree of equanimity about the pool usage. I don't think it's necessary for me to go into the statistics that are in front of you. You can rework them if you like to. But the bottom line in it is since the volleyball started on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 hours, the usage has increased 170%. And it's especially damaging on Sundays when the pool usage is taken up with water volleyball 38% of the time. I would like to ask a few questions. Well, by the way, are there any board members that are water volleyball players?
I'm a hopeful.
Well, you should join. It's a lot of fun. I want to ask, is it possible for people from Sun City West to come use the Oakmont pool?
I don't. Anybody know?
As a guest.
I guess as a guest.
Sir, would you give us your name and your member number?
I can't give him a number because I can't remember it, but my name, I do have my name and I can remember that. It's James Beardsley.
Beardsley, okay, thank you.
I'm more happy to give that to you. Pardon me for not doing that
That's okay.
originally.
Thank you.
Well,
Did I-
there have been competitions here before among a variety of sports, not necessarily just water volleyball. I'm not sure what your question really is.
Okay. Besides being legally and partially blind, I can't hear very well anymore. I'm 85 years old. I can't apologize for that. It wasn't my doing. I didn't know I'd be around here that long. So Sun City West people cannot use Oakmont Pool, is that correct?
Anybody with a guest card.
Okay.
Could
The
use
other
it.
question that I have is,
And that's
how
not
much increase and how much fees does the water volleyball club have to pay for the exclusive usage or semi-exclusive usage of the pool?
Sure.
I don't care if you answer that now or later on.
Goes away.
I'm sorry, Mr. Herring, did you want to?
Did you want me to answer that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Beardsley, the RCSC chartered clubs may be allocated space, whether it be in a pool or in an auditorium, and that is provided by the recreation centers without fees or charges to those clubs. So that water volleyball does not pay a fee to use the pool at Oakmont.
And Mr. Beardsley?
Yeah.
I will tell you that the Strategic Alternative Committee is working very hard to find a sports pool location that can relieve some of this pressure. So it's not lost on us that we have a pool that is being used by a very popular and growing sport, and that they need we need another facility that was already in the Mountain View plan, a sports pool, and we're looking at alternatives as well.
Thank you. I'll ask one more statement and then I'll sit down. And that is that when the water volleyball activity begins, the monitor for the water volleyball does the check-in inside what I would call the main gate, that is the gate closest to the large parking lot on the east. The participants then place their towels and gym bags and other personal belongings on the north side of the pool. That north side is the favorable side, and quite frankly, for 4.5 hours, it serves the only purpose of placing towels and gym bags. My suggestion is, and it wouldn't cost anybody any time or anything, is that the check-in be done on the west gate and they keep their belongings, the gym bags and whatnot there, and keep the 24 seats and lounge chairs that are available on the north side for the use of other people at the pool. And with that, I'll thank you very much for allowing me to express my opinion. And once again, I'm not here to try and end anything. I just think there needs to be a little bit more cooperation in working with equanimity and finding the right ratio. Thank you.
Mr. Beardsley, thank you for bringing this to our attention. I am almost positive that some communication, either from us or staff with the Water Volleyball Club, will hasten the change of where they put their towels and whatnot. I have a feeling you're concerned, your group is concerned about the usage of the pool by the volleyball players. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's pretty much correct, but it's mainly the over usage, the ratio of water volleyball activity, which eliminates the usage of the other members of the of Sun City, the use of that pool.
I understand that. And when we have water activities such as aqua fitness and the swimmers who use the lanes at the Bell Pool, they are, as Mr. Herring said, chartered clubs. And so, of course, we try to accommodate them as well as we try to accommodate all of our members. Now, just to remind you, and this might not be a solution, but there are 2 other pools close by Oakmont that you could go to, well, at least 2 that you could go to that may be more open at the time that you're thinking about going. But in the meantime, we will chat with the volleyball club, or staff will, and see about getting the towels and whatnot moved so that the chairs are available.
Thank you. And at the risk of sounding inflammatory, which I don't want this to come out this way, but maybe the volleyball players could find another pool to go to also. Thanks again.
And we're working on that.
Okay, thanks again.
And I would just ask one more thing, if you can answer, Mr. Herring. When the water volleyball players are playing, does that become their dedicated space?
When the water volleyball club is playing, they do the spa area is open, and the swim or the lanes in the pool are also open, and they quite frequently accommodate swimmers moving to those lanes, coming in through the area where they're playing during that time. So it's only the large open space of the pool that is closed during the club times.
But my question is, does that become their dedicated space while they play?
It is dedicated while they play, yes.
Thank you.
And I can speak to that. I'm Deanna Rasmussen, Licata. My number is 1255556. I've been using that pool since it's been open, and other pools for 10 years. The issue is those lanes are needed for people who are recovering, because you can go in the pool going down the steps. For instance, I had a collapsed vertebrae this year, so I'm still trying to rehab that. There are people who can't see, and they need to use those lanes because they can't swim in the big pool. So the time that is needed for those lanes is being cut back by the volleyball because you want to now open up the volleyball Tuesday night and Thursday night. Those are times when people who are working need to use the lanes for swimming, but you're cutting out those hours. I'm glad to hear that's in the future, but right now there are a lot of people. There's a petition we've signed with more than 130 people who are upset about this because we need that pool to do physical therapy. Do you understand the issue now? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And I take it that this has a sense of urgency about it?
Yes, because the people who come at night, I normally swim in the morning, I work. So my time is limited when I can go to the pool. And when I go there and there's lots of people who want to swim in the lanes, I can't get in there to swim. And it's a problem when you're working. So the people who are coming at night probably work in the daytime.
I've been working with the Water Volleyball Club, and one of the things we're looking at as a more quick solution, because we realize that Mountain View is a very big project, is the storage yard behind that pool is large enough to accommodate a sports pool, which would then free up that pool for other use. That's the quickest solution we've been able to come up with so far. And it is being vetted by the architect as in terms of whether or not it's feasible to do that. But I hear you 100% that because water volleyball has grown and the play has gotten so much bigger that it's tending to interfere with others' uses.
Yeah, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we did the same thing, increasing the number of hours. I don't know if people know, volleyball has it 4 hours, 4 days a week. Now they want to increase it 2 more nights for 3 hours. That's taking more time away from lap swimmers. And that pool is really good for physical therapy. Let me say also, we can go into the pool while the volleyball is going on, but we can't go down the stairs and we can't come back out the stairs. We have to go up the ladder. So again, if that's a physical therapy injured person, it's hard for us to get out of the pool. We either have to go early and swim while the thing is going on, but we can't get out of the pool. Do you see the issue?
Yes, yes.
So that's enough time.
Thank you.
Madam
Chris,
President?
go.
Yes, Mr. Heron.
I just want to reiterate with respect to the club and the lanes that are in the pool, those that want to use those lanes, the club is accommodating and you can go down the ramp, you can go down the stairs to get into that pool. They've repeatedly have communicated to me that they've stopped play, allowed somebody to get into those lanes. Those lanes are open during water volleyball time. So the presentation that those are not available isn't perfectly accurate, and I just want to make sure that that is corrected and known as well. So, and the hours that we have provided for the club, Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, are during the summer hours only. We will, when we get to Labor Day, those hours will go away. But when I reviewed those times, there was available space based upon cardholder check-in that allowed us to make that decision. It wasn't made in a vacuum. We did look at check-ins to see how many people were using the pool during those times.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Diana, was it? Oh, ma'am. Deanna, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say thank you for bringing that to our attention. These are the types of reasons why we have these exchanges, so that the board is made aware of some of the issues that we don't know about. So thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Bjork, 112-650. Hi, Board. I just came to say thank you for acting on the chairs, Marionette. I appreciate it. It's unfortunate that when I raised it the first time, it didn't get handled, and then we were subject to that public embarrassment. So what I'm hoping for is, I think that the members, or the homeowners, I should say, are, it's deserving to provide us a list with all the maintenance issues that have been neglected over the years. And there's a few that I could raise, but I'm not going to do that. And a timeline for getting them addressed. I just think it would go a long way to show us how, because you acted quickly on that once the public embarrassment showed up. And I think we need a list of what the issues are and how they're being addressed in the timeline.
Thank you, Susan. Maybe I can address that from the Budget and Finance Committee. As we go through the budget process, all the maintenance items that have been submitted by management and or the clubs, so-called clubs requests, are collected and gathered and then looked at and prioritized as far as the budget is concerned. In the past, the process was, the Budget and Finance Committee was not as involved in the process as we think it should have been.
Okay.
And so we are in the process of working with management to have a more robust discussion back and forth about what gets fixed, what doesn't get fixed, and then finding a way to communicate to members that what's on that list that hasn't made the budget, so that we can begin to get feedback on maybe sometimes we misprioritize something. I don't know. The budget is a fixed amount, and but it's our first step, and we're hopeful that the step will be very, very productive for both the board, the members, and for management to have that input.
Yeah, good. Okay. No, thank you.
I just wanted to add, again, you are our eyes and ears to what's going on. There's only 9 of us. It's very helpful to learn these things, perhaps not in a public forum, but in an email to one of us on the board. We also have a properties committee that I'm sure would welcome anyone who would like to join. And is that correct? And they go out and look for things that might be wrong with the properties. So again, you need to help us so we can help you. Thank you.
I think that wasn't for me because I emailed quite often. The other thing is just to address the comment cards, because it's been known that they go into just an abyss here, and nobody sees them, nobody knows what's happening. So making sure that there's a true process with that. The other thing is, there's a couple more things that I want to address, and I have to because I'm going back to work. Just one quick thing for the SAC. I just want to make sure that we address how many other retirement communities, other than Sun City West, have a standalone PAC. And also, you can see some of the newer retirement communities aren't doing that.
Yes, we are doing a survey of all the retirement communities in Arizona. So far, Pebble Creek and Sun City West, and has standalone theaters, and Green Valley has an agreement with a theater company to use that theater. So that data will be available and for the members to see as far as a standalone PAC is concerned.
Okay, thanks. And then,
Susan?
Yeah.
Just to reiterate, anything that is discussed at the SAC or Strategic Alternatives Committee, there is a place on our RCSC website where you can go and find everything that's been talked about, download a copy, read it. It's all out there.
Okay, thank you. As you know, I work, so I can't watch everything, so I appreciate that. The other thing, we need to look at the rules for becoming a board member and also the meeting times to entice more people to want to become board members.
Yeah.
So that's all I say. And the liquor licensing, I know it was a workaround, but somebody looking at that might say, well, what is that? It just doesn't bode well for enticing people to come to the board, or want to.
Yeah, we are 100% behind trying to make it more enticing to become board members so we can get better, more candidates. The more the better.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are doing a good job so far, and we like that, but I'm sure you want to get out of that seat sometime.
I like the fact that it's so far.
Yeah, and then I know that this is probably not the place, but I'm going to do it anyways. I just want to thank you for addressing the issue with Lori Ellingson and her revocation of her membership, because that was not called for. It was a farce to shut her up, is what most people can see. And although it doesn't really right the wrong that has already been done to her, I appreciate you addressing it and getting her back on, because it was totally inappropriate. So thank you.
Yes, Mr. Nichols. Director Nichols, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just not sure it was appropriate to talk about that last subject.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. Name and number, sir?
Jacob Zarember, 39772. Before I tell you how many people signed this petition, I will read the petition to you. Hopefully you can pay attention. Oakmont Pool Water Volleyball Petition. We, members of recreation centers of Sun City, and specifically those who use the Oakmont Pool, are requesting that the management consider reasonable options for the changed water volleyball team hours as a fair compromise to other members who also pay for these services. We feel we were not fairly involved in the decision-making process, as we were not given an opportunity for input. The Water Volleyball Club in the past used the pool 3 days a week for 3 hours a day for a total of 9 hours. Then they expanded to 4 days, 3 hours a day for a total of 12 hours. After that, they extended their hours to 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, a total of 16 hours. Now they are scheduled to use the pool on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:30 to 8 p.m., an additional 5 hours, for a total of 21 hours per week. That is a very substantial expansion. I'm glad you agree. We would petition the management to limit volleyball club hours to the 4 days they already had in place and not allow the expanded evening hours. Those who use the Oakmont Pool and are not part of the Water Volleyball Club prefer to continue to use Oakmont because of the pool's new filtering system and oxygenation of the water. We truly appreciate the new water system at the pool that management has put in place. For that reason, we do not want to go to other pools. We would also petition the management to consult with other users of the Oakmont Pool, as well as the Water Volleyball Club, when making decisions that affect everyone. Now, I want to give a little bit of a background. Approximately 4 years ago, we had another petition concerning the water volleyball. A previous assistant general manager had promised us that we swimmers could use the lap pool or the lap lanes even if the volleyball players were playing. That happened for a very short time after the new pool was built. After that, for some reason, the water volleyball team decided that they didn't want anyone in the pool area whatsoever. No lap lanes, no spa, no one could sit in the chaise lounges, no one could enter through the gate. For 3 years, they had that in place. Then we started a petition. We gathered 18 signatures at that time, and I presented the petition to Chris Herring, who was very cordial, and at that time decided, yes, let's make it so that the lap swimmers could go in and swim laps or go into the spa if need be. Then they started adding all these extra days and extra hours, and now they want Tuesdays and Thursdays. And pretty soon we're going to get knocked off on Saturdays as well. Now, I have 2 copies of the petition, and I know that Chris will probably want to have a copy of it. There are 39 signatures in the current petition. So that gives you an idea how many people are involved in this. We don't want to go to another pool. We like the water system that was installed last summer to replace the saltwater system that was there before. So yes, we know there are other pools, but we don't want to go there. We like Oakmont. We want to keep it the way it was, and we don't want to have any more additions, even though it's going to end Labor Day. That's still going to eliminate a lot of people from coming to the pool. Furthermore, this happened during a time when the snowbirds were gone. I'm sure that the 39 signatures that we have would have been twice as many if we were able to contact the snowbirds. So we kind of resent the idea that it was done after the snowbirds are gone. When we presented the petition...
Sir, I'm going to ask you to kind of wind up, okay?
I'm sorry?
You've gone past time. I would like you to wind up your comments. Can you come to a close, sir, with your comments?
Closer about the comments? Oh, wrap it up. Okay. All right. Well, so anyway, that's basically what we're standing on. And there's 39 of us. I know the volleyball people have a lot of people on their club, but might should not make right. It is right for the rest of us to be able to use the the pool at Oakmont without having to resort to petitions.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, one more question. Should I contact Chris Herring to present the petition?
Yes.
Okay. When will be a good time? After the meeting. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your help.
Thank you.
I'm Donna Doft, member number 151295. And just to clarify that the 39 signatures were only collected in the last week when we found out. It started last Monday, so it's only been a week that we've been collecting signatures, and we've gotten 39 just in that week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Bill Pearson, 133-438. Before I begin, Susan asked me to make a comment, and she wanted to step up, and I said I would do this. The exchange about the member that had been suspended, whether it was right or wrong, isn't for us to judge, but she suggested the committee think about an ethics committee where a jury of the members' peers might be a better way to resolve issues when a member is suspended for a year and 6 months. That way, it actually would be taken out of the hands of the people that actually perform the suspension. Many of you know that I am a co-administrator on a Facebook page, Sun City Chat, Arizona. Daily I post pictures, historical photographs of Sun City, and then give a paragraph or two accompanying it. We have a very large following, and I've built up an interesting relationship with the membership. The other day I got a message online from a person that said, "Can I call you?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." She called me from Canada. She's home. A relative died. And she said, "Can you explain why I'm being charged PIF?" And I said, "Well, tell me what happened." She said, "My husband and I bought a house. The address was..." I have her number. I'll give it to you in a minute. And she said, "We bought it in 2002. There was an odd exchange. And in 2003, she ended up put on the deed with her husband, Hugo, which interestingly enough was a jockey at Turf Paradise. Hugo died last year. Her number was 52041 and still is. Now, for those of you that have been around a while, you know what that means. It's way back when. After her husband Hugo died, she got a bill from the RCSC for nearly $5,000 for a transfer fee. And I said, "Well, I'm no expert on transfer, on PIF, but I do know that we put a policy in place that if you hit the 51% threshold in a change in the title, then you would be assessed." So the goal was, as I recall when we did it, that a member or a husband and wife that both died was in a trust and it went to the kids would become liable. A single spouse dying wouldn't trigger it. It simply would carry forward. So I explained that to her and I said, "You got to be on the deed." She says, "I am. I have been since 2003. She said, "I'll send it to you." I said, "No, I don't want it. I don't want to be in the middle of what you guys are doing or what you guys are doing." But I said, "Your timing is perfect because on Monday I'll be in front of the board at the exchange meeting." And so I said, "Betty, I'll be more than happy to bring this forward because I know," and I don't mean to pick on anybody, but I know the RCSC has become really aggressive in the last 6 or 8 months on collecting PIF. Like when somebody dies, somebody must be watching and they're immediately going after people to get their money, which is disturbing because a lot of times when kids inherit the house, they put it on the market right away. They don't want to live here. They just want the money. I get it. And they get a bill, even when it's for sale and even when they know they're going to get it from the next set of buyers, which sometimes is within 30 days. And the answer is, "Well, we'll give them back their money, don't worry, but send us ours." That really is money grubbing, but okay, I get it. You're trying to stay on top of it. The problem is the only way you give them their refund is if they request it, and if they don't request it, you keep that piece, and then the sale a month later, you keep that piece too. Right or wrong, you guys decide that, not my job. However, this lady, Betty McTeague, member number 52041, got a bill. And I said, "What did you do about it?" She said, "I went and met with an employee at the RCSC." And I said, "Yeah, what did he say?" And I'll spare you the name because I don't want to embarrass anybody. He said, "Either you pay it or you lose your membership." Oh. Well, she said, "I don't have the money." But he said I could make $100 a month payments until I pay it off. She's been doing that. I find that disturbing. I said, "What's your member number?" "It's still 52041. So would one of you please, or I see Kevin's writing, thank you. Somebody figure it out. Look, I get PIF. I've written 100 times. It's the best thing we ever did, but we don't need to collect it from people that we promised they wouldn't pay it. So thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
say Don Helmer, 122951. And I just wanted to mention, I go to Bell Pool a lot, and I'm an efficiency type guy, so many times I just wear my swimsuit over there, swim, and then when I come back, I spin it out and I go home. Well, I've ridden home quite often in a wet swimming suit. For some reason, you seem to find it difficult to fix that thing. And it happens not all that often, but often enough that I've had too many rides home in a wet swimming suit. But it would seem like you'd have some technique with maintenance that you could fix that thing overnight. But it doesn't happen. And many times it takes about a week, maybe even 2 weeks to get it fixed. Now, of course, I think maybe this last time I might have been a little bit successful because I told the guys at the desk, I said, they need to get that thing fixed. And if they don't, I think I'm going to have to walk right past you naked and go into the indoor pool to use a spinner. And boy, they fixed it just like that, because that's the last thing you ever want to see is me nude. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that to you. You know, it would seem like you'd be able to maintain, you know, have enough parts on hand, or maybe even a replacement spinner, so you could do that as an overnight project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Yes, Mr. Whitford.
I'd like to respond to that. We have suit spinners on hand in our yard, in our office. All we need to do is know about the issue. So if a work order is presented to us in our system from operations, if the suit spinner is down, we will go put a new one in. We have inventory of water fountains and suit spinners. So I don't know this specific instance here. Something obviously didn't happen, but that is one of the few items we actually carry an inventory on: suit spinners and water fountains.
Okay. The only thing I might say about that is you absolutely insist that we put in one of those cards to get something done. But the people at the desk, they're working for us, they're working for you. It seemed like we mentioned it to them, and we just asked them, we say, well, you know, why aren't they working? But it doesn't seem like they have the ability to go forward and bring it to your attention. So why? But it has happened where it's maybe a week, 2 weeks sometime. No reason for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Again, just a reminder, it may be an imposition to come to attend an exchange meeting, but we go from small things like suit spinners to larger items like, I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but water volleyball. So please continue to keep attending these exchanges and be our eyes and ears.
And I encourage you to apply to be a board member. It's very rewarding.
Anyone else?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Jacob Zarember, 39772. I know that there is a person who is in charge of the clubs. I don't know who that person is, but my question is, was that person directly contacted by the water volleyball people? And did that person authorize the change? And if not, who did? And why weren't we, the other users of the pool, consulted about it? We pay our dues, and we'd like to have some kind of input other than having to go and get petitions going and signatures. So can you answer that question? Anyone?
Mr. Herring?
Mr. Zerber, I have responsibilities over both the operational aspects of the pool and the club's office, so that interaction falls directly to me, and I was involved in that decision for it, and I apologize for not reaching out to cardholders.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don Helmer, 122951. And in reference to what the gentleman said, when I was listening to him a while ago, I don't understand why someone shouldn't be able to use the lap pool in the spa at the same time as the volleyball players. And I can tell you one thing, the people using the lap pool in the spa are being interfered with, or the noise that the volleyball people make. So I don't understand that. I'm a part of the member, and I listen to that, and I say, that don't make any sense. Let them go ahead and use the lap pool. Let them use the spa. And I believe, now I don't understand how this happens exactly because I'm not involved, but here at Sundial, the people who do water aerobics, I don't know if they actually reimburse, I doubt that they do, the club at all, or the RCSC at all, for the fact that they use it, but they do charge a substantial, not really, I guess substantial, not a good word, but they do charge an amount of money to do water aerobics. So I don't know, does the RCSC get any money, any share of that money?
You've raised a number of issues. Well, let's start with the water volleyball and the fact that they do share the space with the lap swimmers, as the lap swimmers described to you earlier. So they are in the pool at the same time, and admittedly, the water volleyball players are kind of noisy. Okay, that was one of the reasons I think why there was a time when the lap swimmers weren't in the pool. But the lap swimmers are in the pool at the same time, and as you heard, the water volleyball players will stop their play to allow the lap swimmers to ingress and egress the lap pool.
Oh, okay.
Okay. As for what you described at Sundial, I think you're probably talking about a class.
Yeah.
And people paying to attend a class.
Right.
And those are very separate issues. Any comment?
Yeah, and I just would add, the Aqua Fitness is an RCSC chartered club. They do charge a fee for their classes, but that is with respect to getting the instructors to provide the class.
Yeah.
But they, like other clubs, do not pay any rental fees for the use of the activity spaces like the pools that they use.
Yeah. My wife participates in those, and she really enjoys it. I think that's one of the more successful programs here at the RCSC in the pool. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any further member comments? Okay, seeing none, let me let you know that the next board meeting is scheduled for June 29th at 9 a.m. here in Sundial. The next exchange meeting will be on September 11th, 9 a.m. here in Sundial. And the annual member meeting is scheduled for November 29th at 6 p.m. here at Sundial. There being no further business and without objection, this meeting will be adjourned. And I want to remind you to turn your phones and electronic devices back on. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a copyrighted production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.